and welcome to the latest episode of Social Media Circuit. As always, I'm your host, Jacqueline Stevenson, and today we are having an episode devoted to foodies and food and what food brands and restaurants and individuals are doing to use social media to their advantage and make their businesses and themselves grow and flourish and do even better than they did yesterday. Today, my very special guest is Ron Worth, who is the ticketing and food service manager at Shakespeare & Company. Did I get that right?
You did.
Awesome. Phew. And he's going to be talking to us today a little bit about the work he does in his own life with social media as a foodie himself, and also how it helps some of his work here. So first, before we jump into that, because there's a lot to talk about just as far as your work goes, I picked out a few headlines, as we always do, shared them with Ron earlier, so we're going to talk a little bit about those.
Great.
So these are some food-centric headlines in the news this week as in regard to social media. And, a lot of them, basically, we'll get back to this later in the show, but when you do a search right now for headlines or news bits regarding social media and foodies or food or restaurants, anything like that, really what you're getting is news on the latest, greatest app, I think. I think, almost every press release I saw this week, every news headline I saw was touting the latest app for your phone or app online, on Facebook, on Twitter, a campaign on Twitter, if you will. And they're all things that foodies and people who love to share food and experiences and that great drink you had last week via their social networks. And this is huge for the food community. It's one of the biggest industries in social media now, leading the way and doing some really neat things. So that's something we'll get back to. We're going to talk a little bit about the apps that Ron and I both really like. But in terms of specific headlines, the first that I picked brings you all the way back to agriculture. I actually titled my note "Outstanding in Their Fields." I'm sorry, I can't help it. I can't help the puns. But the California Agricultural Summit was just held last week. You wouldn't think that this is a place where they're going to be talking social media.
Right.
I didn't. But it was actually one of their big bullet points. And it turns out, and it makes sense when you read, what they're talking about. One of the things they focused on at the summit was how social media can be used not just for marketing, but also for connecting with consumers, educating consumers, and the big one, crisis management. As anyone who has picked up a newspaper or read the headlines on their phone lately, we all know that the food service industry as well as the agricultural industry are constantly inundated with issues regarding safety, and there's always something new coming down the pike. No matter how careful you are, it's an issue that's going to hit almost everyone. And then on the flip side, there are some, these big industrialized agricultural outfits that are having more and more issues that we're reading about lately. So it just makes sense to me that the Agricultural Summit is looking at social media as a tool that they should be using, whether it's a farmer or someone that's buying their goods.
I agree.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and while that they did mention at the summit that mass marketing and traditional marketing are still really big pieces of the puzzle, it's certainly not being replaced by social media in any way, and that's something that we talk about a lot on this show, actually. It's definitely not the end-all be-all of everything, but it's a huge piece of the marketing puzzle. And crisis management, that social has rapidly accelerated the pace at which a crisis not only can spread, but news of the crisis can spread. So agricultural outfits being on top of that is huge, and they're going to be looking at some new strategies moving ahead as they continue to grow as an organization, just agricultural organizations as a unit. It's pretty interesting. And speaking of which, just kind of moving right into the next headline that I picked up. There's been a big connection lately in the social realm on the marketing side in terms of restaurants, whether they're fast food restaurants or one-off restaurants, fine dining or what have you, casual. A lot of different restaurants and food outfits connecting their customers with where they get their food. There's a huge buy local, buy U.S. Movement. Those are two different things, obviously, but there's, it's a big buy from where you live movement across our country right now.
Yep.
And it works out really well sometimes. There's some really good social campaigns out there. Sometimes they don't work out so great. Last week on Social Media Circuit, we talked a little bit about McDonald's.
Right.
And their hijacked hashtag last week and last month. They tried to launch a Twitter campaign with the hashtag McDStories, and that was supposed to highlight the farmers that create the food that McDonald's sources, potatoes, tomatoes, lettuce, what have you. but it ended up being hijacked, like I said, and it was serving instead for people to tell their horror stories about McDonald's. McDonald's backtracks. This was obviously a little bit of a social faux pas. Unfortunately, McDonald's, I'm sorry. I do love your burgers from now and again, and I cannot sit here and say that I'm not a McD-phile from time to time, especially when I'm rushing from taping to meeting to taping. But they're back in the news again as the social faux pas winner. And this time it's a little different, though. This time this was an example of a more traditional campaign, a radio ad. Not a campaign, one ad spot that ran in a very limited market in Kansas. Unfortunately, it was meant to promote the new Chicken McBites, their little McNugget type things that they have now, like a popcorn chicken type of thing. And it said, what kind of bite is better, picture of a McBite, and then a picture of a pit bull. So as you can imagine, this was not received well in the pit bull loving community, which is a very large community and apparently very socially connected, because they jumped all over this very limited release radio ad and launched a social campaign against it to have it pulled that went global in a matter of hours. That ad has since been pulled. So sorry, McDonald's, but thank you for at least pulling the ad. We appreciate it, and that just goes to show you, even if the campaign is not social in nature, it can still be affected by the social world. Finally, this is one we were just talking about before we started filming, so feel free to weigh in on what you think about this. Send a Heine to your honey. This is the Heineken social app for Valentine's Day, and as we know, Valentine's Day has a really big tie-in with food and drink, I would think. And Heineken is a great app that is part of a larger campaign, which is traditional and social, called Open Your World. And the Facebook campaign, the Facebook app rather, is send a serenade to your sweetie. And in 4 clicks, you have a band all set up of actual people that have already been filmed beforehand that will send a personalized message to whoever you choose to send it to. You can choose a Facebook friend. I played with this today, of course, and I did send one. So there's somebody out in our audience who has a Heineken serenade in their email right now. Somebody. However,
I wonder who.
I know it's pretty interesting. It's really well produced. It is indeed 4 clicks to send one. You can send it to a Facebook friend or to someone outside of Facebook, and it's a special button right on the left-hand side of the Heineken Facebook page, which, by the way, gets 5.6 million views or visitors. It has that many fans. So obviously they're doing something right. They have tied it in with their more traditional campaign, which isn't traditional at all. It's a series of long-form commercials that are actually like short films. You can watch them online, and they're also on TV in a truncated form. There are also print and radio ads in this Open Your World campaign, and there's going to be actually, once this airs, I'm sorry everyone, it will have happened. It's on the 9th, so we're a little behind. But tomorrow, in our time, on YouTube, there's going to be Serenade Live, where people can have this same band of actors that put the video app together, do a live serenade to whoever is the object of their desire.
Does it cost anything?
It does not cost anything.
Really?
It's free. It's an 8-hour event. And those videos, by the way, will be on YouTube in perpetuity or for a while. So it's not like we're going to be talking about something completely outdated. You can check out Heineken on YouTube, and you're going to be able to see the different pieces of the social component of this campaign. It's hilarious, first of all. I mean, and it goes a long way. It doesn't have to be all strategy. I mean, if it's fun, people are going to play with it.
Well, people just want fun. That's all they want.
Exactly. I agree. And it's something that we hear a lot in marketing these days is a new phrase called the aspirational look or the aspirational feel, giving someone an experience that's aspirational. But really it's something cool and fun that they would like to play with. I think that this is what it kind of boils down to. Heineken's got it down, and also, I spent a lot of time talking about those other pieces, those traditional pieces. I think that's a big part of it. They're learning, or they've learned, clearly, to integrate social into their traditional, and it doesn't stand alone. It works as one piece of a larger pie, so to stick with the food theme today. So that's something that I think is really interesting, and way to go, Heineken, for the send a Heine to your honey promotion. I think that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like it.
I have to check it out.
And and they really are getting to me because it's making me think, when was the last time I had a Heineken? Maybe I will. Or
I know.
America's favorite import. I don't know why not.
It's
I've gotten
working.
really stuck on those Berkshire microbrews lately. But as I said, as you search for news about food, restaurants, and social media and how they're working together, we are seeing again and again more apps that are either specific to the food community, or they're cool apps that can be used really well by the food community.
Yep.
There's Food Buzz. That's something that I see a lot of lately. That's everything from recipes on the go to checking into where you're eating. So it's kind of a hybrid.
Foursquare type thing?
Yep. Got a little bit of a Foursquare feel, and also a little bit of a blog almost, where you're getting tips and recipes, but it's not that static website format.
Right.
And mobile supported, obviously. Pinterest is a big one that you don't think food right away, but I am new to Pinterest, and I'm in that obsession phase with Pinterest. Anyone who's already on Pinterest already knows that this is how it goes. It's like falling down the rabbit hole, basically. I haven't gotten out in 2 days. I've been stuck. But there's so many recipes, and even if it's just a picture of a great fruit salad or something, I mean, that goes such a long way. And it doesn't seem like it should, but it really does, whether it's inspiration or an idea or literally somewhere to go and eat that fruit salad. I mean, there's a big gamut of experience there.
So what exactly is Pinterest? Because I've heard about it this week, actually.
Yes.
It's the first time I've started hearing about it.
I think it's really at the tipping point right now, where people are really learning more about Pinterest and how they can use it, or why they should, or if they even should be. It's basically a virtual corkboard. Where you can find things online, images online, and pin them by using the URL and copying it into your Pinterest page. And it goes on to one of your, basically like a corkboard, one of your boards. And you can have any number of boards. You can see other people's boards.
Food board,
exactly.
Craft board, whatever.
And that's pretty much what I've got going on right now. I only have 3 boards right now, and I have one for clothes, and I have one for craftiness, and one for food. So that's pretty much my life in a nutshell on Pinterest. And you can see other people's boards. You can borrow things from other people's boards and pin it on your own board. And I like that you can bring it all the way around. For instance, I saw a dress that I really liked on Pinterest yesterday. I don't have anywhere to wear it yet. Maybe my Heineken Serenade will help me out with that. I don't know. But I can click on that picture on my corkboard, and I can go right to the site that allows me to purchase it. So as a brand, that's huge. And I think restaurants and food sites, food outfits can use this in any number of ways. Every day putting a picture up of the dish of the day or a recipe. And to that matter, so that's bringing in people to eat that special that night, but also if you're, even if they're 100 miles away, they can still get some inspiration and some kind of
they're there.
Exactly, something. So it's very interesting. I think that's a good example of one of those broader social sites that foodies can use really well and lead the way. Instagram too. I don't know if you use Instagram.
I don't use it, no. But I've heard about it.
Well, I've been taking pictures of my plates of food in front of me for probably 5 years now. And, if I didn't have my phone, I used to bring, back in the day when we didn't all have our phones, I used to bring my little camera with me in my purse. So I'm a total food nerd when it comes to doing stuff like that. And I was so thrilled to see on Instagram that there are millions of other food nerds just like me taking pictures of everything they eat. And it's all about the hashtag. The hashtag is used on Instagram the same way that it's used on Twitter. Hashtag foodie. Hashtag Instagram food. Just hashtag food is also big. And I'm seeing it break down in regions too. So Food Western Mass or Berkshire Food is something that I'm starting to see now too. And you can see how that hyper-locality could make even a huge, more huge difference, if you will, for restaurants. So those two things are great. Twitter is the leader, obviously. Facebook is kind of a necessity for everyone to be on. Are there any other food apps or food sites that you're big on, or blogs too? We don't want to forget about the bloggers.
There's, it's not really a food site, but it's my favorite thing that I use. It's called Evernote. Have you heard of Evernote?
Yep.
Evernote is the system where you can, I can write all of I have all of my recipes in Evernote. I have photographed all my mom's recipes, all recipes that I've used in restaurants, all recipes, just everything. and I can get it on my phone, I can get it on the computer, I can get it everywhere, and it just syncs automatically.
Yeah.
I can, when I'm making a food order list, I can make my order on my phone, go back to the office, and I'll have a copy of it there. Or, it's just all around. I think it's the app that I use the most because I can take a picture of anything and remember it.
That's awesome. The organization, and can you share as well?
You can email the notes to people.
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
there's that sharing function as well as keeping everything. And I love that you can access it anywhere.
Anywhere. And
that's
you can
great.
actually, there's an app that you can download onto your computer, or you can go on their website and you can sign into your account, and it's web-based too.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get it everywhere. And I've used it for 3 or 4 years now. There's a free version and then there's a paid version. But you can store pictures, you can store
That's really cool.
video, you can store audio, you can store everything on it. And it just syncs automatically.
That's really cool.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, and that goes back to using these bigger outfits in a way that, foodies can, and that's something that you can translate pretty easily into another industry. As someone that's working in like an arts and crafts function, I think,
anybody can use it for anything.
That's really neat. I'm going to look into that because that's my resolution for 2012 is to be, well, one of them is to answer the phone more often. So anyone who's been trying to call me for 3 years, now's your window. Yep. And text me though. I get back to you so much quicker. And but my other one is to be more organized. I'm a creative at heart, and I don't live in a world anymore where I can just do it. It has to be a plan.
I'm notorious for losing things.
Yeah.
I lose things, pieces of paper, just everything. And so this, literally, you can take a picture of a note that you've written, and you can search for that.
Yeah.
On Evernote.
So one good thing about Evernote is that we were just discussing a little bit earlier was that pickle jar theory of being able to put anything into this one receptacle and then be able to search for something specific. But at the same time, things that maybe you're not looking for are still in there, and that's a great source for inspiration. J.K. Rowling is well known for that, actually. She, I don't know what she's using in the social realm these days. It'd be great to ask her and get an answer on that. But she used to store everything she used for the Harry Potter books in cardboard boxes, and they were just these big messes of, herb recipe books and, funny little names and things on street signs that she saw that she thought might be inspiration for Diagon Alley or something like that. But she said when she was looking for something specific, she always came across stuff she wasn't looking for, and that's what kept her creative process going. So we don't all have space for, I think she probably has enough space for cardboard boxes if that's how she prefers these days, but I don't. So I have a very small apartment, so I'm going to stick with my phone and my laptop, and I'm going to check out Evernote. So thanks for that tip.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about that is right up Ron's alley is video as it relates to foodies and foodieism, if you will. Video is fantastic for the food community. Yep. Food demos do not have to be these big produced affairs anymore, like a cooking show. While they can be, and they're still very popular, you can also do something a little bit more lo-fi and still have a great response, whether it's a cocktail demo or a quick cooking demo or even just a quick 30-second cooking tip. Mm-hmm. Now your blog is called?
My blog is called A Foodie's Life.
A Foodie's Life. What do you know?
Pretty simple.
And you're doing a lot of blogging written, but you also are doing a lot of cooking videos right now, right?
I do, yeah. I started doing cooking videos, I guess back in the fall. I did a couple just because I wanted to try it out, and the response that I got from friends and family and strangers was great. So I've continued to do it. I haven't done one in a while, but I'm hoping to get back into it in the next couple of weeks.
Great. So have they been seasonal recipes, or are you doing anything specific?
A lot of the stuff that, when I think of cooking, a lot of it is kind of like what you were talking about being creative and J.K. Rowling and that sort of stuff, is that I like to go into a kitchen and kind of see what I have and come up with the recipe that way. And I think the real point of it was, although I didn't really realize this when I was starting to do it, was that I want people to realize that cooking can be really simple. And it can be what you can cook. You don't have to go to the grocery store. You can cook with whatever you have in your house. Mm-hmm. And just kind of, people people stress out about cooking.
Oh yeah.
Which,
yes, they do.
you know, and I'm like, why? This is, I mean, you know, I just think that I want to take the stress out of it. It's a fun thing. Everybody can feed themselves, and you know, you don't have to go to fast food all the time or have pizza all the time or whatever. You can go into your house and just cook stuff out of the pantry. So most of my recipes are made up that way.
Great.
Seasonal. You know, I did what did I do? I've done I think I did a stuffed acorn squash recipe once.
Oh yeah, that sounds fabulous.
I did just a whole bunch of things, and it's all seasonal. I'm gonna start doing soups and things like that. So it's fun, and literally I use a Sony camera that, you know, it was a still camera, and then I realized that it took video, and I was like, well, let me try this.
It's as simple as that.
And
yeah.
it worked fine, and I do it in my house, and it's actually a lot of fun. The editing is fun, and you know, I have a good time doing it. So
you can tell you're having a good time doing it. I've watched quite a few of his videos, and they're great. And it really, to your point, really points out that simple can be done well, I think. I also really love your kitchen. It's really wild.
Thank you.
So if for no other reason, go and check out A Foodie's Life. The URL is what now?
It's a foodieslife.com.
Foodieslife.com, easy
Yeah.
enough. The reason that I asked you is because I'm being notorious for the last few episodes for getting the URLs wrong, and our producer Alfonso always puts them correctly down at the bottom. I'm going to do this. He'll probably put something like, Jack's always wrong under, yeah. So apologies to Picnic, the photo editing site. They're P-I-C-N-I-K, not P-I-K-N-I-K. That's one of my many mistakes. But at any rate, the videos that Ron's putting together are really fantastic. Are you seeing any change in how you're approaching your work here because of the videos, as far as food feedback or some recipes that you've tried out or anything like that?
I definitely have taken recipes that I've done on the videos and done them here. Here at Shakespeare and Company, we do actor training workshops, and I know one of the videos I did was a pasta alla vodka. And it came out great, but I did it here last month for
Great.
you know, for 100 people, and it was a lot of fun. And I think, you know, making the videos has given me more confidence. It's given me more, you know, it's just fun. It's good. It's good to do.
It is.
You know, I always think that you should put yourself out there in the world, and I think the videos have helped me do that.
That is an excellent sentiment. And I think that's a great place to end our foodie episode for this week. Anything else you want to add or mention about your blog or your work or anything at Shake & Co. that we should know about?
I think, you know, if you're around for, unfortunately before this airs, you're probably going to miss our Valentine's Day brunch that we're doing on Sunday.
Okay, Valentine's Day brunch on Sunday. I don't know. We might be under the wire on that.
We might be under the wire on that. But we're also doing a great production of Moliere's Learned Ladies.
The Learned Ladies.
Going on right now, and so you should call and order tickets for that.
Yes.
And I'm the box office manager too, so you'll talk to me.
Talk about connections.
Exactly.
See?
So we're doing that, and then we have a bunch of really exciting stuff that's going to be going on this summer. Tickets go on sale for the summer season on the 14th, on Valentine's Day.
Oh, great.
And we're having Olympia Dukakis is going to be here doing a show.
Awesome.
And,
Steel Magnolias.
Yeah.
For those who are not aware of Olympia Dukakis is, but most of us do.
Yep.
Especially in Massachusetts.
So it's just going to be a great season. It's our 35th year. So, you know.
35 years. That's amazing.
We've been around. I started in the Young Company with this company back in 1993.
Did you?
Yep.
You're a lifer.
I'm a lifer.
I had no idea.
I've been around for 20 years.
Wow.
In and out.
See,
so.
foodies can go places, see? And if you are going to check out Shakespeare and Company and any of their productions here for the next few months and well into the summer, there are also plenty of great places to eat in downtown Lenox in the Berkshires. So please do come up and check them out.